I don't know about y'all, I don't like wasting time and money. So there's enough stuff that can happen out here that's going to cost you anyway. Why volunteer for that? No, hell to the no, man. But I've been seeing quite a few videos online on YouTube about, you know, buying new equipment and how a lot of people say don't do that and don't pull the trigger or do pull the trigger and all that. Well, every situation is a little bit different. You know, I think that if you're starting off and you ain't got no, you know, you don't really know exactly where you're at. Say, you know, you got tired of your job, you're 9 to 5, and you want to start cutting grass or whatever, then that's cool. But I would not go out, and a lot of people might tell you different, and, you know, I got a disclaimer. I would not go out and spend money on the kind of mowers that you see me have, or the trailers or trucks or whatever. I wouldn't. Because there's a lot of variables out here that, you know, that you got to think about. Number one, you got to have enough customers to justify it. Everybody wants nice, shiny lawnmowers, but if the customer base that you have can't pay for those mowers, or, you know, you haven't been out here a whole season yet, or you know, I always recommend people do it part-time to begin with. That's the best move if you ask me. Just jumping out here, you know, without any experience or anything, well, there's a lot that can go wrong, and everything that goes wrong costs you something, and it's usually money. And that's the biggest thing that people start out, you know, they jump out here and they want to damn, you know, be a baller, but you got to work to be a baller. You got to earn to be a baller. You got to be consistent. You got to have longevity, you know, because you'll never make it to baller status if you don't. You ain't gonna come out here in 1 or 2 years and make the kind of money that somebody that's been out here for 10 or 15 years. I mean, you know, for the most part. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but yeah, especially if you don't have no experience. You got to be thinking about a lot of things. What kind of properties is your target? And if you jump out there and buy a machine, when you think your target is this, and then you're not getting those targeted yards, and you're getting these targeted yards that require a different kind of machine to make the most money in a minimal time, then you just spent $10,000, $15,000 on a machine that's taking you 2 hours to make $100. Well, man, $50 an hour is good, Ray. It's okay, but you don't want to be stuck there. I mean, you know, and the machine that you buy, I mean mower, weed eaters, blowers, and edgers, and all that crap, that ain't even worthy of my time to talk about, man, to be honest. It ain't. I mean, they're disposable. You know, I buy the steel stuff because I have a steel dealer. I'm sure that there's other brands that, you know, are as good or whatever, but, you know, I don't have any problems with the steel stuff. You know, never. The chainsaws either. So why would I change out and go to Echo or whatever when the steel weed eaters, they last for years on my truck, man. I said years. 1 year on my truck is like 15 years of Johnny Homeowner. and they don't really cost any more than the other weed eaters. You know, I bought the 94R for Francisco, a brand new one, and I think it was like $300 or $320 or something like that. It wasn't big money, you know. Well, Ray, it's not very powerful, but see, what you got to understand is what you're buying. You're not. I'm not looking to buy the most powerful weed eater out there. I don't care nothing about that, because we're doing lawn maintenance. I do have a weed eater, brush cutter that will cut anything. But for the daily, routinely stuff that we do, the 94R, the FS, 91, you know, the 111, all of them are just fine. I mean, you know, the 131 or whatever, I don't really have a problem with it, with any of the weed eaters or the blowers. You know, usually when a weed eater, I have to replace a weed eater, it's usually because, well, we broke one, we ran over one got bent some kind of way, that kind of thing. And that's why I bought the new weed eater for Francisco, because what happened was the one that Zach was, the FS 91, it got broke. It didn't get broke because of a mechanical thing. It got broke because the lawnmower rolled on it. Yeah. It ripped the whole carburetor off. And I didn't cry about it too hardcore, because, well, the weed eater's 5 years old. I mean, a weed eater out here for 5 years? Come on, man. Dude. So I don't really, y'all don't see me really talk a lot about the weed eaters and stuff, because, well, there ain't nothing to talk about. But the mower is a big investment. It's an investment that when you purchase it, you are gonna, you stuck with it. Just like I am with the Skag, and I make do with it, and I make money with it, and all that. But, you know, you ain't gonna, I don't know, you ain't gonna be able to cut the kind of yards I get, you know, with a smaller mower and make as much money as somebody with a bigger mower. See, I didn't buy any mower. I just used the mowers that around me that people had and blah 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 around me, and that's how I came. And I kept getting all these great big lawns. So when it come time for me to pull the trigger on a big boy mower, I knew what I needed to buy. You know, a 60-inch mower is by far the most efficient mower that you can buy for the properties that I do. Well, a 72 would be better. Well, a 72 would be better for the bigger ones, but a 72 is kind of big to be putting on the little ones. You gotta have mowers that'll do a little bit of both, and that's what I have. The only reason I bought the Skag is because of the 52-inch deck, and I had a property, but I don't have no more, where I was having to weed eat around these crepe myrtles on this big long driveway, and I didn't want to keep doing it no more. I didn't want to. I was trying to make better time. And I did for the, you know, for the when I first got the Skag. You know, this is just random thoughts that I think about, you know, because a lot of guys, well, man, just go pull the trigger and buy you a, you know, a big boy setup. Well, don't do that unless you got the customer base that can support that. That's what you got to be making enough money to justify it. Because if you're not, then you're going to always be stressed about how you're going to pay for everything. You know, and when you're stressed, you can't make as much money as somebody that's not stressed. Well, what's stress got to do with making how much money you got, Ray, or how much money you make, Ray? I'm gonna tell you, because if you got mower payment, hardcore mower payment is $600 or $700 a month or whatever, then you got to cut these yards. Mom and pop that call you for a bid on their property, you can't go in getting top dollar because, well, you may not be able to get top dollar, and they may just be cheap. And what ends up happening is you start doing you do the property for cheaper than somebody that don't have a mower payment. Because see, I can hold out for the bigger, for the better customers and the more lucrative yards. If you got a big boy mower payment and you don't have the customer base to justify it, then I don't know how you're gonna have to take on all properties, and you're not gonna be able to charge as much, because if they tell you no to $60, then and they say we'll give you 50, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna do it for 50, because you got that mower payment coming down, and you need to get the money, you need to get the work. When a guy like me, of course, in the beginning I had to take all work, just like guys in the beginning do now. But for a guy like me, I don't have to take all that work, but I've got my finances and everything in a way to where I'm not going to stress about it, and I can afford to drop customers or whatever, because I manage my money in a way and the equipment in a way to where I can see daylight all the time. How you manage your money directly reflects how you spend your money, which directly reflects how much money you're going to make. Because if it costs you $15 more to do a property, and you're making $15 less, then that's $30 that you're not making that I am. You got to be thinking like that, man. If you're out here, living on the land and you don't have a head start in the game. I'm talking to guys that are just wanting to try it out. See, once you get in it and you see it's something that you can do, you can deal with what? The heat. You can deal with the equipment. You can deal with the customers. You can deal with everything. The heat being a major one. Then once you see that you can deal with that for a summer or two, then okay, this is what I'm going to be doing for the foreseeable future. That's when you start looking at your finances and start saying, okay, and plotting how you're going to manage things in order to make more money quicker. There's only so many hours in a day, and the goal for me has always been to make the most money in a minimal time. Because if I can do that, then I can add more work onto the day. If it takes me 7 hours to make $300, well, I need to look at that. But if you're solo and you don't have a lot of expenses, you can actually survive with that. But you got to be thinking about what you're doing while you're out there doing it, so you can say, well, man, if I had this. See, that's the way I was when I was on the mower. The homeowner, high-end homeowner mowers, and the push mowers, and the walk behind mowers, and all the mowers I had before I finally got to the mowers I have now. When I was sitting on them mowers, cutting all them properties, making not as much as I make now, I was always thinking, okay, man, if I had this kind of mower or this size mower, then I could do this property 3 times faster. If you're not thinking like that in the beginning, then you're gonna be one of them guys that's gonna be doing this for 20 years, 30 years, and you still got the same truck, same trailer. Nothing wrong with that. But that ain't where I wanted to be. And if you're young in the game, surely, if you're thinking about jumping out here on your own business, surely you want to do more than just that. I want to do more than just survive, man. And I will do more than just survive. Always. Are you just trying to survive and make it? Nothing wrong with that, But I would venture to say that if you're in your 30s, well, you want to blow up probably. I don't know. Now, if you started your business when you were 50, well, then your mindset, at least for me, I'm talking about for me, and I got a disclaimer, my mindset is different at 50 than it was at 35. like right now, I'd be more inclined just to make, you know, $400 or $500 a day and be okay, because I've got a lot of the things paid for in life that I want to pay for, you know. And I'm not, you know, real hardcore gung-ho on growing right now. What I'm gung-ho and hardcore on is being really efficient and making more money with the same customers that I have now. With being and being sassy with the money on the other end, learning what mowers to buy so I don't waste no money, because I don't know about y'all, I don't like wasting time and money. So there's enough stuff that can happen out here that's going to cost you anyway. Why volunteer for that? No, hell to the no, man. But that's just a few of the little things. I know it's kind of a, you know, all over the place, but that's just a few of the little things that, you know, that I see out here, and the trends that I'm seeing that people are doing. You know, don't automatically just jump out there and buy a $20,000 lawnmower or $10,000 lawnmower. Not unless you know, or you already got the customer base to support that. And working with subpar mowers, I did that for years, y'all. I mean, I know a lot of guys see the truck, they see the mowers, they see the mentality that I have now. But what brought me to this mentality is all the John Deere tractor mowers and all the subpar mowers that I had over the years that I was always working on, and I was always having to fix, and I was always learning what I did not want, and that pushed me to where I needed to be. And I'm not anybody special, I'm not anybody unique, and I'm not anybody needy either. So I'm self-contained, self-learned, and I don't know that I'd have it any other freaking way, man. Because the things that I've learned in the 17 seasons I've been out here, you're not going to learn that any other way. Just not, you know. One of the most critical things that I've learned is baby steps, consistency, and patience. Especially if you are, I would say, in your 30s. And and when I say that, that's not a dig at guys in their 30s. That's just, you know, I don't know, the reality of how my life went through my 30s to 40s. And in my 40s, my thinking was always, what am I going to do as I get older? That's when I started being a lot more sassy with my money and my knowledge. I started to realize in my 40s that knowledge about equipment and everything is critical. I said critical, y'all. You know, if you're getting paid for what you do and not what you know, then, you know, you're probably not being all that you can be if you're my age. See, I get paid for what I know. Well, how's that, Ray? Because I know what equipment to buy, I know how to bid on the jobs, I know how to deal with the customers, and I know what I can and can't do and make money at it. That's what I mean when I say that. When I was in my 30s, well, I left a lot of money on the table, put it like that. A lot of money. All right, y'all, I'll kick back.